The merciless wind of December pierced through Maya's worn-out jacket like thousands of ice needles. Under the Route 47 underpass, she trembled, trying to protect herself from the cold of the world. She was 17 years old and had been living on the streets of Millbrook for 8 full months. When her foster family was removed from the system a year early due to a bureaucratic error, they moved 3 states away and left her behind. No one had bothered to fix the mistake. Under this underpass, behind a concrete column where highway workers stored salt barrels for winter roads, she had set up a small camp. It wasn't much. A sleeping bag she found in a donation bin, a tarp stretched between the barrels, and a small backpack carrying everything she owned. But it was hers. More importantly, she was invisible to most of the people passing by on the opposite side of the road. That meant the police hadn't kicked her out yet. As she read a water-damaged pocketbook she had found in a little free library, she heard the sound of motorcycles. The hum began like distant thunder and grew until it shook the ground beneath her. She peeked from behind the barrel and saw a motorcycle convoy exiting the highway and pulling into the rest stop about 50 meters ahead. Even from that distance, she could make out the patches on their leather vests. Iron Skull's Motorcycle Club. They had been part of Millbrook as far back as the town's memory reached. They ran a legal custom motorcycle shop on the east side of the city, but everyone also knew they controlled most of the underground activities in the county. People respected them or feared them, most of the time both. The president of the club was a mountain of a man everyone called Iron Mike. His face looked like weathered granite, and his arms were covered in tattoos that told stories of violence and brotherhood. And of course, he had never noticed Maya. People like him couldn't see people like her. The men gathered near the rest stop's glass storefront. Their leather creaked in the cold. There were 15 of them, and they all looked serious. This wasn't a social ride. Just as Maya was about to duck fully behind the barrel, she noticed something else. On the far side of the rest stop, parked away from the streetlights, was a car. Maya had developed an instinctive talent for noticing things that didn't belong. That was how you survived on the streets. The car's windows were fogged, and she could see shadows moving inside. Something about it unsettled her. The bikers were focused on their meeting. They spoke in sharp bursts, their voices echoing on the frozen ground. The words that reached her were shipment, territory, north route. Business talk that had nothing to do with her. But that car, that was what Maya couldn't look away from. Then she saw the door open. A small figure stumbled out. A girl about 7 or 8 years old, wearing a bright pink coat. She swayed on her feet and then collapsed onto the frozen asphalt. Maya moved before she had time to think. Back in her old school, she had taken a first aid course as a health class requirement. The certification card was still in her backpack, one of the few official documents proving she existed. She ran toward the rest stop, her sneakers slapping against the concrete. The bikers hadn't noticed. They were too deep in their discussion. When she reached the girl, she saw that her lips were purple and her skin pale as milk. She wasn't breathing. Maya dropped to her knees, ignoring the ice soaking through her pants. She tilted the girl's head back, checked her airway, and saw it was clear. No pulse. She placed her hands on the tiny chest and began CPR. 1, 2, 3, 4. She counted silently, pressing down firmly, just as she'd been taught. After 30 compressions, she gave 2 rescue breaths. The girl's chest rose. Good. Again. Compressions. Breath. Compressions. Breath. Hey, what do you think you're doing? The voice boomed like thunder. Maya looked up and saw Iron Mike charging toward her, fury in his eyes. The other bikers were right behind him, a wall of leather and anger. She's not breathing. Maya shouted, continuing the compressions. Call an ambulance. Iron Mike froze the moment he reached them. His face drained from red to white. Lily. She's my daughter. What happened? What did you do? I didn't do anything. She came out of that car, Maya said, jerking her head toward it without stopping the compressions. She collapsed seconds ago. One of the bikers was already on the phone with emergency services. Another ran to the car, yanked open the driver's door, and shouted, There's someone in here. Unconscious and, oh God, there are drugs everywhere. Iron Mike knelt beside Maya. His huge hands hovered helplessly over his daughter. Is she going to be okay? I don't know, Maya said honestly, giving 2 more breaths. But she needs to start breathing on her own. Come on, sweetheart. Come on. She had been doing CPR for nearly 2 minutes when the girl suddenly coughed. Maya quickly rolled her onto her side. Lily vomited, her small body shaking, but she was breathing. Shallow and uneven, but breathing. Lily, baby. Iron Mike reached for her, but Maya lifted a hand. Don't move her yet. She's breathing, but she's not conscious. The ambulance is coming, right? 3 minutes out, one of the bikers shouted. Maya kept her hand on Lily's pulse and watched. Now that the immediate crisis had passed, her mind began processing what she'd seen. The man in the car, was he her father? No. Iron Mike's voice rumbled like granite scraping granite. I'm her father. That's my ex-wife's boyfriend. He was supposed to drop Lily off with me an hour ago. I came here to meet them because Sheila didn't want the guy to know where I lived. I thought they were just being difficult. His tone shifted. I didn't know he'd started using again. I didn't know he'd keep Lily in the car with him. Pieces clicked together in Maya's mind. The man had probably been smoking or injecting something with the windows closed. The child had been trapped in the car, inhaling the fumes. Carbon monoxide, drug smoke, who knew what else? She must have been in distress for a while before stumbling out. Mike looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time. Maya saw his expression change when he noticed her thin frame, worn-out clothes, and the backpack that carried everything she owned. You're homeless, he said. It wasn't a question. Yes, sir. And yet you ran over here to help my daughter. Of course. Siren wails grew louder in the distance. Maya started to stand, but Iron Mike caught her wrist. Despite his size, his grip was gentle. Please, don't go anywhere. Why do you think someone like Maya, someone who has lost everything, would risk herself to save a stranger instead of thinking about her own survival? Has a moment like that ever happened to you, where you listened to that voice inside and acted? Please share your thoughts in the comments. The next hour felt like a dream. The paramedics arrived and took over Lily's care. By the time she was taken to the ambulance, she had regained consciousness and was crying. Daddy. Iron Mike climbed into the ambulance to go to the hospital with his daughter, but before he got in, he pointed at Maya and gave his club a firm command. Don't let her out of your sight. Don't let her disappear. The bikers formed a loose circle around Maya, non-threatening, but absolutely not letting her leave. The police arrived and arrested the barely conscious boyfriend. They found methamphetamine, fentanyl, and several other drugs in the car. The officer questioning Maya had been suspicious at first, an unhoused teenager in the middle of a drug case. But the bikers confirmed her story, and the security camera at the rest stop backed everything up. Wrapped in a blanket someone had given her, Maya sat at a picnic table watching everything unfold. She felt detached from her own body. The adrenaline had worn off, leaving her trembling and cold. An older biker with a gray beard and kind eyes brought her a cup of hot coffee from his thermos and set it in front of her. Name's Roadkill, he said as he sat across from her. Yeah, I know, stupid nickname. Got it 30 years ago after I hit a deer with my first bike and walked away from it. Maya took a sip of the coffee. It was awful and perfect at the same time. I'm Maya. Mike's gonna want to thank you properly, Roadkill said. His tone was deep and serious. That little girl means everything to him. He lost his wife to drugs 5 years ago. He's been fighting to keep Lily safe ever since. I just did what anyone would do. No, Roadkill replied firmly. You did what most people wouldn't. You paid attention. You acted. You saved a life. He paused for a moment, then softened his voice. How long have you been on the streets? Maya shrugged. 8 months. Family. No one who wants me. Roadkill nodded slowly and didn't ask anything else. They sat in silence until Maya's phone buzzed in her pocket. She had forgotten she even had it. It was a cheap prepaid phone she charged at the public library. The message was from a number she didn't recognize. Hospital. Lily stable. Come tomorrow. Mike. She showed the message to Roadkill. He nodded in approval. I'll get you there. That night, Maya didn't sleep under the overpass. Roadkill and two other bikers, a woman called Spike, and a young man named Sketch, took her to a 24-hour diner and bought her the first real meal she had eaten in days. Then they got her a room at a motel on the edge of town. This is too much, Maya protested. Spike, her voice clearly smiling, said, "Hush and accept the kindness. Mike's orders, and Mike gets what he wants." The next morning, Roadkill picked Maya up and took her to Millbrook General Hospital. Walking through the clean, bright hallways, she felt out of place, painfully aware of how rough she looked. But none of that mattered when they reached Lily's room. The little girl was sitting up in bed. She was still pale, but she was alive. Her eyes lit up when she saw Maya. "Daddy, that's the angel lady who helped me." Iron Mike stood from the chair beside the bed. Under the hospital lights, Maya could see the exhaustion on his face, but also a gratitude so intense it made her uncomfortable. "The doctor said if you hadn't started CPR when you did, she would have suffered permanent brain damage," he whispered, voice cracking. "Maybe even died. You gave her back to me." "I'm glad she's okay," Maya said sincerely. Iron Mike continued, "I want to do something for you. And before you say no, understand that refusing it would be an insult to me. You saved my little girl's life. That creates a debt that must be paid." Maya had learned not to trust gifts that came with strings attached. "I don't want to owe anyone anything." "You don't owe me. I owe you." Iron Mike pulled up a chair. "Please sit." Maya sat. Iron Mike took the seat across from her, intentionally lowering himself to her level. "Here's what's going to happen," he began, his voice clear and decisive, as if laying out a business plan. "First, we're setting you up in the small apartment above the motorcycle shop. It's empty, and it's yours for as long as you need it. No rent. I can't. Second," he continued, as though she had said nothing, "you're going to finish high school. I spoke to the principal at Millbrook High this morning. Old friend of mine. Starting Monday, you're enrolled. All expenses covered." Maya's throat tightened. Her eyes burned. "Why? Why was he doing all of this? Why are you doing all of this?" she managed to ask. "Because you saved my little girl," Iron Mike said, holding her gaze. "Because you're 17 and living under a freeway overpass, which is wrong. Because I can help, and I will." He leaned forward. "Look, I know what people say about us. Some of it's even true. But we protect our own. And as of last night, you're one of ours. You don't have to join the club. You don't have to do anything illegal. You just have to let us help you build your life." What do you think about Iron Mike's unexpected and unconditional offer? Should Maya trust and accept this new family? Or should she let her past guide her caution? Share your thoughts in the comments. What would you do? Maya spent that spring in the small apartment above the motorcycle shop and completed her final year of high school. The Iron Skulls became a family she had never expected. Spike taught her how to ride a motorcycle. Sketch helped with her math homework. Roadkill made sure she ate regular meals and got to school on time. And Iron Mike never asked for anything in return. He treated her as if she were an adopted member of his large family. Lily visited every weekend, and Maya found herself looking forward to braiding the little girl's hair and listening to her excited, sugar-sweet stories about second grade. Her determination to hold onto life reminded Maya of her own struggle and awakened a new sense of purpose within her. The town's reaction was mixed. Some whispered about a homeless girl living with a biker gang. Others saw something different, a community taking care of one of its own. A life saved and a life rebuilt. Maya didn't care what people thought. For the first time in years, she truly had a home. In June, she graduated with honors, wearing a second-hand dress Spike had tailored to fit her. The entire Iron Skulls Club attended the ceremony. Their leather vests and loud motorcycles made everyone turn their heads. When Maya's name was announced, they cheered louder than all the families in the gym combined. Tears of joy streamed down Iron Mike's face. That summer, Maya enrolled in community college to become a paramedic. She had found her calling in that frozen rest stop. She wanted to be the person who showed up when everything went wrong. She wanted to save lives. She still lived in the apartment above the shop, but now she helped with bookkeeping and answered phone calls instead of paying rent. Iron Mike insisted on making the arrangement official and proper. It showed Maya she was being treated as an employee, not a charity case. She valued that more than Mike could ever know. One warm August evening, as Maya was closing up the shop, Iron Mike called her into his office. Lily was there too, smiling brightly. "We've got something for you," Iron Mike said. Lily bounced on her toes in excitement. "Show her, Daddy." Iron Mike brought out a leather vest. It was smaller than the ones the club members wore, made to fit Maya. On the back was a patch. At the top, Iron Skull's MC. At the bottom, stitched with care, a single word: family. "You don't have to wear it if you don't want to," Iron Mike added quickly. "It's not a full club patch. You're not obligated to anything. We just wanted you to know you're our family. You always will be." Maya took the vest with trembling hands. The leather was soft and worn. Clearly it had been taken apart from another vest and remade. She would later learn it had belonged to Mike's late wife, lovingly preserved after her death. Mike had given Maya the most precious thing he owned. "Thank you," she whispered, her eyes filling with tears. "No," Iron Mike said, his voice trembling with deep gratitude. "Thank you for seeing my daughter when you had every reason to think only of yourself, for acting when most people would look away, for being in exactly the right place at exactly the right time." "I just paid attention," Maya said. "Exactly," Iron Mike replied. "In a world that gives you 1,000 excuses to care only about yourself, you still looked around you and cared. That's what makes you family." Do you feel that warmth inside you during the scene? What do you think the true meaning of family is? Blood, or the bonds we choose? Have there been unexpected people in your life who became family to you? Please share your story in the comments, because every story has the power to inspire someone. 5 years later, Maya stood in the parking lot of Millbrook General Hospital in her paramedic uniform. She had just finished her first shift as a fully trained emergency medical technician. The job was exhausting but exciting. She had helped save 2 lives before lunchtime. Her phone vibrated. It was a message from Iron Mike. "I'm proud of you, kid. Stop by the shop. Lily wants to show you her science project." Maya smiled and typed back, "On my way." She walked over to the motorcycle the club had custom built for her on the day she graduated from paramedic school and put on her helmet. Just above the collar of her uniform shirt, the edge of a small tattoo was visible. A tiny angel wing with the date she had saved Lily's life inked beneath it. She had gotten the tattoo on the day she passed her paramedic exam, a mark to remind her of the night that changed everything, for being in the right place at the right time, and most importantly, for caring. As Maya rode from Millbrook toward the shop, she passed the underpass, where she had once lived in a tarp-covered tent behind salt barrels. Seeing it stirred no shame or anger in her. Instead, she felt a deep sense of gratitude. That underpass had been her lowest point, but it had also brought her into the moment where she saved a little girl's life. Everything had grown from that single act of courage, simply looking around and taking action in a moment most people would ignore. The family she found, the purpose she discovered, the life she built. Maya had learned that heroes aren't always people who have everything. Sometimes heroes are people who have nothing, yet still find something to give. If Maya's story reminded you to trust your instincts, to speak up when something feels wrong, and to never underestimate the power of looking around, please share this video as a gesture of love. For more stories of courage and the human spirit, stories that show how bravery comes in many forms, and how sometimes the smallest person in the room can have the greatest impact, subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss new videos. Do you remember a small act of kindness or awareness that changed everything in a single moment? Please share your story in the comments. Help us build our community and inspire each other.